This health and fitness segment proudly brought to you by Pura Heart Active Milk, helping you reduce your cholesterol by an average of 10%.
Milk. Now, with so many fad diets, it's hard to know what approach really works on.
Yeah, but Amelia Burton is here with a new set of rules to help keep the kilos down for good. Now, Mills, we were told once that 30 minutes of exercise a day was enough to keep us in shape. Is that still true?
Actually, not when it comes to managing your obesity levels or managing the nation's obesity levels. You see, these new rules that are out by the, the National Health and Research Council has released these new guidelines, which in the past the guidelines were about managing cardiovascular disease and heart disease, but they recognise that our rising obesity levels are such a concern that they've changed the guidelines to managing obesity. So when it comes to exercise, the old 30 minutes a day doesn't cut it anymore. It's got to be up to 45 to 60 minutes per day.
An hour?
Wow.
Yeah, an hour, actually even longer if you are already fall into the...
Let me tell you, 30 was a stretch.
Yeah, you've got to remember, though, that it doesn't have to be in one consistent workout. It can be, you know,
20,
throughout,
20,
yeah,
20.
exactly, throughout the day.
8-hour day, just one day, just at the gym.
That's it, cover it all off
Put
in
it
one
on
day.
a Saturday.
No, it's important to factor it into your lifestyle. For example, I've suggested a few tips here, such as booking it in your diary like an appointment. You know, you have a coffee with a girlfriend. Well, now we're going to go for a walk instead.
All right, what about, you know, they used to say, like, restrict your food intake and stuff, but that's probably not the way anymore. I mean, you've been saying this off and on for a while.
Absolutely. So it's all about balancing your energy requirements. So it's understanding your kilojoules in versus your kilojoules out. We know for a fact that if you burn more kilojoules than you eat, then you're going to lose weight. And that's what these guidelines are recommending. But who knows what 8,700 kilojoules looks like? So here's an example of what 8,700 kilojoules in a day looks like.
This is a good day of eating right here.
Yeah. For example, 2 weeks, low-fat milk with some honey and a banana, a toasted cheese and tomato sandwich for lunch.
Hello, Friday lunch.
Loving lunch.
Yep, spaghetti bolognese for dinner. I'm not saying this is, you know, a well-rounded...
2 Tim Tams.
So then dessert, you can have 2 Tim Tams. So 8,700 kilojoules is not starving yourself by any means. It's a healthy diet. You can still have your little treats in there as well.
Yeah, that looks good.
She loves to barbecue and drink wine.
So what I recommend you do is spend 2 weeks actually writing down what you eat and counting your kilojoules. There are some really great apps out there, like MyFitnessPal. Sonia's got this look on her face.
No, because I know if I did that, you would be horrified.
Okay, so there you go, Sonia.
That's
a challenge for you. Write down what you eat for the 2 weeks and just learn to understand what 8,700 kilojoules
Write down what I
like.
eat here for 2 weeks. It'd be surprising.
Amelia, you know how once upon a time fat was like, no fat, don't have any fat at all.
Yep.
That was one of the diet rules.
Yep.
But are they still, because there are good fats and bad fats, are they still all out of bounds?
No, so flying against the low-fat movement, what they're looking at doing is you've got to replace your saturated fats with your polyunsaturated and monounsaturated fats. So that's like your saturated fats are your fats that are hard at room temperature, animal fats, meat, your butter, things like that. So they're not saying go completely low-fat, they're saying swap out the saturated fats for the mono and polyunsaturated fats, which are your olive oil, your nut spreads, you know, nuts, avocado,
Grab a
that
handful
kind
of nuts daily.
But remember, David,
what? It says
taking
that
the tone down
it says it on the screen.
Just a little bit goes a long way when it comes to the amount of fat that you eat.
What about naughty sugar? I'm hearing a lot of things that sugar is the evil of all evil.
Yeah,
do you think we should stop sugars?
Isn't there a big trend at the moment for cutting sugar out altogether? Well, the good news is that these guidelines say that actually some sugar in the diet is important, but, David, before you get too excited, it's the naturally occurring sugars in fruits and vegetables and dairy. You can have about 10%, and I've written here, less than 10% of your daily sugar intake should be from your processed foods, so your Tim Tams and things like that. But certainly, you know, your okay sugars are your fruits and your veggies, even dark chocolate, but then all your processed, your lollies, your cakes, your biscuits, they're the ones that you want to make sure less than 10% per day.
Gotcha.
Okay.
And finally, you know, when you get on the scales, being happy with the numbers staring back at you doesn't necessarily mean that your work is done.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
If you hit your goal weight, just shift the goal weight again.
No, no, it's all about setting goals. It's all about setting new goals. It's all about having to actually monitor your weight. But that doesn't just mean the scales. What that's also referring to is your circumference. And these guidelines recommend that every 3 months you actually measure your waist circumference.
I've never measured my waist and given myself the thumbs up. Can I
okay, well,
okay, well,
never done that.
I'm using both hands, that's why.
I would challenge you to do that every 3 months, because our weight doesn't give us the whole story, and these guidelines have shown that actually your waist circumference and the carrying of the body fat around the middle is the most important when it comes to managing your health levels.
Thank you very much, Amelia.
No worries.
Coming up, celebrity.